Super Mario Brothers.
The brothers, the brothers, the brothers. Hey everybody, welcome to the Best of NES, the first Best of NES interview. Hopefully we'll be doing a ton of these, and this is the first one. We have here some very, very notable Mario 1 records. We've got Darbian, we've got andrewG, and we've got Cosmic D. Darbian, you need to have one more letter at the end of your name, I think, to fit the theme. And I am Blechy. We will be asking these guys all about how they got into their games, how they got into Super Mario, and really just kind of fleshing out what exactly you need to know about the speedrun and the history of the speedrun. It's going to be a lot of fun today. It's a really good idea. Bad Breaks actually came to us with this idea, and it's a really, really solid one. I think Bad Breaks, you're secretly in here as well, aren't you?
I am.
Hey. So, yeah, thank you all for joining us. How are you guys doing today? Are you excited for this interview?
Lovely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, today's a pretty good day.
Because really, I mean, Mario 1 is really, in my mind, one of the most prestigious, if not the most prestigious speedrun of them all. There's just so much weight behind the game and its name. I mean, it is the very, very first, it's not technically the first Mario game, but it's the first Super Mario game. For the NES, it was released, it was a launch title with the Nintendo Entertainment System. It's highly, highly nostalgic for so many people, video gamers that grew up with it, or even just kind of people that played it more recently. The NES might have not been during their lifetime, but they just feel like they had to go back to this game that had such an impact on video gaming in general. I mean, it's the second best-selling video game that's localized to a single platform, just behind Wii Sports, and of games that are across different platforms, it still holds the 5th best-selling title. So, I mean, obviously everyone knows Mario, and everybody knows Super Mario. I don't care, to what extent you consider yourself a gamer. If you have touched a TV in your life, if you've touched some kind of gamepad, you've played Super Mario Brothers. And so when it comes to speedruns, that's why I feel like it's just such a prestigious run. The other thing that I feel about this game is that if you look around different sites, from the most hardcore speedrunning sites to the least hardcore of people that just kind of have seen a speedrun here and there, this run is often cited as being one of the closest to perfect speedruns out there. And each one of the people we have today, Darbian, Andrew, and Cosmic, are all so close to theoretically perfect. And it's to the point now where every single frame in this game matters. The first 7 of 8 levels are perfect. You cannot complete those levels with the currently used strats. You cannot complete those levels faster than they're currently done, and then it's all up to that 8th level and how you play that 8th level, which decides if your speedrun is going to be a record, or just a really good speedrun, or the end of the run. So we're going to be breaking that down for you on how exactly that comes into play. And another very exciting thing about this is that right now, the games community is among the healthiest it's ever been. I mean, would you guys agree?
Yeah. It's definitely,
Certainly, I mean, Darbian's having the run, what is thought to be the run, kind of put a damper on that. Thanks a lot for that, Darbian. But, right now, I mean, there's so many new faces getting into this game, or people that might have run it previously and are just looking to push their time further and further and further. So right now is such a great time to get into the game, and even if you don't want to get into it, it's still just such a great time to talk about it, which is really why we're doing this today, when we're doing it, and why Bad Breaks thought that right now is the opportune time to talk about Mario 1 in great depth. So for starters, we're going to be focusing today on the any percent run. You might be familiar to some extent with this game and what exactly, and the different categories. There's an any percent and an any percent warpless run. Andrew, do you just want to give a quick little rundown on what the differences between those are?
Well, any percent is basically just the fastest completion using the warp zones. That's 8 stages. And the warpless is every single stage with however you want to beat each stage, 32 stages total.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so all 8 worlds and each of the 4 levels in each world, right? Yeah, of course. Right. That's the math. Cool. But we are going to be focusing on any percent today. Both categories are highly competitive, but any percent tends to see the most focus by the speedrunning community. So really, let's get into what we should really know about this game. Shortly, we're going to be showing you the record, but before we do that, let's just go into a little bit what you should know about the run and some of the most key kind of characteristics and tricks you'll be seeing. So Darbian, what makes this game such a unique speedrun is how the frame rules work. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So frame rules are kind of the most fundamental thing you need to understand about speedrunning this game at a high level. Basically, the game only checks every 21 frames whether you've completed a level, and that comes out to be 0.35 seconds. So it's impossible to gain or lose time in increments other than a multiple of 0.35 seconds. And to somebody who's not familiar with the game, that can kind of be kind of confusing. So I've used an analogy. Other people have slight variations on this one, but we're going to go with the version that I've always said on my stream, and that's at the end of every level, when you see Mario go down the flagpole and enter the castle, imagine that instead of a castle, that he's entering a bus station, and that he has to take a bus from one level to the next. And in the Mushroom Kingdom, buses operate on a very specific schedule such that a bus departs a station every 0.35 seconds. So when you complete a level, no matter how fast you do it, you have to wait for the next bus to leave to get to the next level. So if you take the perfect playthrough through a level, it has to get on some particular bus. And what that means in terms of speedrunning as a human is that you don't need to match the perfect playthrough through a level to get the perfect time. You just have to play well enough to get on the same bus as somebody who did play it perfectly. And then you'll arrive at the next level at the exact same time. So that allows you to lose a few frames in certain levels without any penalty whatsoever on the clock. And that's what allows us to say, like you stated earlier, that the first 7 levels of this run are perfect for the strategies that we currently use. Because you can't save a single frame unless you do something really crazy on any of those levels.
And that's really what makes it so fantastic to me, is because, I mean, for a really, really long time, it wasn't like that. You might have, like 4.2, which we'll get into, is an example of a level where for a long time it was known that you could potentially cut out a frame rule by doing some insane trick that nobody except Andrew would ever touch. And then the record was set, which was a very, very solid record without that ridiculously hard trick. And then you guys said, okay, enough of that. Let's actually go for this insane trick. And now you guys are getting these runs where if you don't get the hard trick in 4.2, you have realistically no shot at getting the record. And that's unreal. So we're going to talk a bit more about 4.2. Actually, let's get right into it. So Darbian, I'm talking a bit about 4.2 and the wrong warps. Can you tell us a little bit about how those wrong warps work?
Right. So in 4-2, if you watch a speedrun, you'll see or a high-level speedrun at least that includes this trick, you'll see the player go down a pipe and arrive at the warp zone in the sky that's normally accessed by revealing a hidden vine and climbing it. And this is the wrong warp that we do in that level. And the way it works is that the game, at any given time, there's one value in the game's memory that says that tells the game where to send Mario if he were to take a warp at that instant. And by warp, I mean climbing a vine or going down a pipe. So when you climb a vine, this variable gets read and it says, okay, send Mario up into the sky. And in 4-2, if you go down the pipe, it says, okay, whatever this value is, it should be the coin room, we'll send him there. But it's actually possible to trick the game in levels that have two warps that are close to each other, such as 4-2, where you have a warp pipe and a vine in pretty close proximity. And the trick, in levels like that, the developers chose to use the screen's position to update that value in memory so that each thing takes you to the correct spot. So if you just load up the game right now and run to the pipe, it'll take you to the underground coin room. And if you reveal the vine, it'll take you up there.
Let's watch a quick video of that. I've got it ready here, Dexter, if you can prep it. So this is taken from Darbian's current record, which we'll watch in full shortly. But let's just watch 4-2 real quick and just see exactly what Darbian means. So here we go with that. So you'll notice that he bumps up against two walls, two very select walls here, and then goes down that pipe. And because he's bumped up against those two walls, he's pushed himself far enough, it's barely noticeable, but he's pushed himself far enough to the right, where once he goes down this pipe, as long as he's not moving, this pipe normally goes to a coin cache, but because he's bumped up and moved far enough along, then he's actually going to go where, I'm going to skip back a few seconds, where this vine goes. So that vine goes up to the warp zone, but here he goes down the pipe, which would normally take him to a coin cache, but instead he's up in the warp zone.
All right, so in levels like this, the screen position is used to update the warp zone. So our goal is to reach the pipe without scrolling the screen as far as it would normally go. So those bumps push Mario ahead enough to reach the pipe just before the screen position would trigger an update to that value in memory. If we scrolled one pixel further, then the trick would not work. So with this particular way of doing the level, you have to stop on the very first pixel of the pipe that you can go down.
Yeah. It's pixel perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The backwards bumps. You see, Mario's position is in the middle of the screen typically, but when you do the backwards jumps, it pushes him forward enough so that it keeps the camera back enough so that the game is tricked into taking you to the warp zone.
Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't enough, that you have to stop on the first possible pixel to go down the pipe, the backwards bumps don't actually push you enough every single time, so you have to get lucky as well.
Yeah, the safer way of doing it is to add a third bump, which is what you'd see done at marathons, just because it's like a 95% success rate then for that level, and 3 bumps will always give you enough pixels to do the trick, and you don't have to stop on the first pixel of the pipe.
And it only wastes 21 frames or 0.35 seconds, so it's not really a huge...
Just one bus.
I mean, it is a huge time loss in the with this optimization now, but...
Right. Yeah, so you guys can go for this or you don't. It's only quote unquote 21 frames, and yet it's so difficult that how often would you say, bringing it from the 3 bump method to the 2 bump method, how consistently would you guys say each of you can get the 2 bump method?
For me, the math has already been done since I would include the number of successes on each stream. So for me, it's like 3.3% of runs make it past 4-2.
And it's a couple minutes in, so that's a lot of time potentially.
Andrew's the most consistent at it, I think.
I'm gonna say
5.
Mine's probably a little closer to 5%.
Uh-huh.
But still not that successful.
Kosmic, how about you?
Yeah, I think I used to say like 1 in 50. I think that's 2%. So.
So this is a hard trick. I mean, if you want to go for the record, you essentially have to include this trick, which we've heard can be from 2 to 5%, and that's if you're really, really good at it. So, but that's not enough to take the record, because after that, we've got, in a later level, the bullet bill glitch, and that's an 8-2. Kosmic, if you want to tell us a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, so kind of like how Blechy was saying earlier, there was this really hard trick that with the wrong warp that they knew that they could do, but it wasn't included for a long time. Bullet bill glitch is the same way. We always knew that bullet bill glitch was possible, but it wasn't included for a long time. It's kind of the same where you both have to be really precise and you have to get lucky. Basically, there's a bullet bill at the end of 8-2, and it shoots right along the ground, and it's right at the end of the level, so it meets the bottom of the flagpole. And if you bounce on the bullet bill right before you touch the flagpole, then you grab it in kind of a different way than you normally could if you just jumped at it. And you actually clip into the bottom of the flagpole a little bit. And Mario doesn't grab onto the flagpole and hop off the other side. He actually just touches the flagpole and then gets shoved out and stays on the left side of the flagpole. And what's cool about this is when you see Mario normally walking to the castle, the thing that actually triggers the end of the level is there's a solid block in that castle that he goes in. And when he runs into that solid block is when the game says, okay, end the level, make Mario go behind the castle, and it starts that countdown. So when you do this glitch, you just clip into the flagpole, and Mario immediately starts running into this solid block at the bottom of the flag. The game says, okay, end the level, and there's actually a tree right there, and it says, okay, Mario, go behind the background stuff, so you go behind the tree, and basically it skips sliding down the flagpole, walking all the way to the castle. You do have to wait a little bit for the bullet bill to shoot, and so it ends up saving 2 frame rules, or 42 frames, 2/3 of a second. And the reason it wasn't done for a long time is because it's like, well, it's completely random whether the bullet bill is gonna shoot or not, right? But Blubler, or IOL is his Twitch stream, he was the first to incorporate it really in runs because he found sort of a setup to get the bullet bill to shoot every time. And I wasn't actually around when that happened, so I don't know how the process went of him figuring it all out, or if he kind of just showed up one day knowing how to do it, or if anyone else wants to.
I think he basically he figured it out independently. He found a method and said, "Hey, wait, that actually works," and he came up with this setup too. So that was really actually quite a notable progression of the game.
And needless to say, now this now saves 2 frame rules instead of just the 1 from 4.2. So this is also very much required now, and this for sure is required. I think you guys might have said technically you don't need actually no, I guess now technically you absolutely need 4.2.
Yeah, well, you do with Darbian's new record.
Well, man.
Andrew has a well for us.
If you were like insane, you basically need all.
You'd have
rules.
to beat the human theory task without it. So.
Another thing to note, and this is more of a kind of, it's like a criticism on Darbian's record or on anyone's record when it's posted. There are a lot of complaints from people who are totally new to speedrunning. I mean, these might be from about different things. From this run uses warp pipes, and so it shouldn't be considered official. To that pipe doesn't go there, and it shouldn't be considered official. But one of the most common ones is that this player ran through piranha plants or through Bowser's hammers, and he didn't get hit. So it must be cheated, right? So Kosmic, why should these YouTube commenters have nothing to fear?
Well, they obviously haven't played the game before because this game has horrible hitboxes. I actually have a little picture here. Blubber actually made this, so I'm stealing it from him. But you can see the hitboxes of the game. It actually shows Bullet Bill Glitch too, but I guess you saw a video. So look at that link I just posted in chat, and you can see just how tiny Piranha Plant's hitboxes are. It's actually just this tiny little box in the stem of the plant, and you can see Mario can easily jump over that. Like Blechy said, it's one of the most commented on things. Mario went right through the plant, but it's actually one of the least precise things in the run. It's pretty easy to jump over the Piranha Plants because their hitbox is just so tiny. And then down at the bottom there, you can see Bowser's hammers. Their hitboxes are a little weird too, but also some of those hammers in the picture don't even have a hitbox because Bowser just throws too many sometimes, and the ones at the very end, the game just doesn't have space to have hitboxes for those hammers, so they are harmless.
Got it. I guess the last crazy thing, or there's tons you can say about this run, but one other crazy thing is the wall jump in 8-4. So Cosmic, I'm going to put you on the spot again for this one. So in 8-4, it's the last level of the run. If you get here, it's such an intense feeling, but it's so far from over because 8-4 has so much going on in it. Every screen is different. And in the second screen, most of all, you have this wall jump. So how exactly does this wall jump work?
Okay. There's also in that link, it shows wall jump too. You can do this anytime two blocks are on top of each other. There's actually the pixel where the blocks meet. If you jump and hit exactly on that pixel, then Mario will stand as though he's just, landing on a regular block. He's actually landing on that block that's in the wall, but he only does it for a 60th of a second, which is 1 frame. And so if you manage to hit that perfect pixel between the two blocks and jump off of it in the 1/60th of a second, then that's called a wall jump. And the only place that it's used in this game is that right there. It's the pipe in the second room of 8-4. You don't have to hit an invisible block and jump on it and jump up to the pipe. You can just jump right off the pipe, and it saves a little under a second.
Cool. Yeah, so you've got, and not only that, I don't think you mentioned that in this second room, in order to set it up kind of consistently, you also have to do this 1 frame jump that has nothing, like just coming right out of the pipe. You have 1 frame where you can jump over that second pipe. And if you don't do that, then setting up the wall jump is a lot trickier. So essentially, you have to get 2 1-frame jumps in a row in that room.
And one of them is pixel perfect too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you have to turn around if you want to do the wall jump optimally, because Mario accelerates faster when he's facing backwards, so you do a backwards wall jump.
The one good thing about that backwards thing, though, is that it kind of makes you hit that pixel more often sometimes, so it's kind of convenient.
It certainly looks a lot cooler, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That's because it's faster.
Yeah.
So the last key trick that you might want to know about is how you accelerate as quickly as possible, and also how the flagpole glitch works. And that's actually a little bit related to the Bullet Bill glitch, but Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about that?
All right, so basically both of those things are things that we're not using in the current 80% strategy, but they're things that could potentially save time in the future. The backwards acceleration is basically, it's just a faster way to accelerate from being, the start of a stage. And the way you do that is you basically turn around the first frame that Mario appears on screen, jump and press right immediately. It's a little bit tricky, but essentially what you're doing is Mario moves faster when he's facing backwards than when he's facing forwards. So when you face backwards and jump immediately, you can accelerate quicker than typical than just running forward.
Mm-hmm.
And the only place that really saves time is in 8-4, just because the other levels are optimized now. So it has a lot of potential in 8-4, and it can basically be used in three or four out of the 5 rooms.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about the task more in detail later, but does the task use that to save any frame rules over you guys?
It does. Yeah, it does. In 8-2, it barely can save another frame rule by getting the bullet bill glitch faster. And I think that's the only one where that actually is in effect.
Okay. So we've given you guys a solid rundown on some of the things you'll be seeing in the run. So now let's all watch the run together. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to try and kind of point out the various times you'll be seeing what we've talked about, and maybe potentially any other smaller tidbits. If there is, I'm hoping we can watch this through without too many pauses, but I'm sure that we'll end up talking about something in such great detail that we'll want to kind of rewind a little bit. So let's get right into it. So this is Darbian's record, which was which you got when exactly, Darbian?
This was I think April 13th, April 14th.
Okay.
Just under a month ago.
It's a 457.260. So that's 457 and 260 milliseconds. What was the record before that?
457.427.
Okay. So less than a fifth of a second difference. And yet that difference is extremely important and is really what sets this record as being thought to be as just about as close to unbeatable as you can get. There's ways to do it. Andrew has his sights on it, and we'll get into more about that on kind of what strats can potentially save time. But for now, let's watch this record, and as we go through, guys, I'll leave it to you, and I guess Darbian, especially since you got this record, to kind of walk us through what we're seeing at any given time. So let's get started. So is 1-1 a difficult level?
1-1 is what I would call non-trivial. It's when people in my chat are curious about speedrunning the game, I always challenge them to start up their copy of the game and try to exit the underground section of 1-1 with a 380 left on the timer. Mm-hmm. And that kind of teaches them how things that might look kind of easy in this run actually aren't.
Sure. So let's actually watch that through once more, this underground section. So what exactly is it about the underground section that makes it so difficult?
It's just, you just kind of need finesse. You need to understand how the physics of the game work to get Mario to the exit pipe as quickly as possible. And it took me many months before I actually started caring about getting that time.
Got it. Yeah, because if you are unable to do that, then you're already starting off a frame rule behind, and
missed the bus.
And you missed the bus. And when every single bus counts, you can't miss that early bus. All right, let's get into 1-2. What can you tell us about 1-2, just kind of briefly?
So I'm actually, I think, the least qualified to talk about this because I play it safe compared to Cosmic and Andrew.
You want to pass
actually
it off to someone?
I abuse the fact that you can waste a few frames without hurting you on the clock by hitting left at a couple of spots in the level, but you can certainly do the level without slowing down if you want to show off your amazing abilities, but I kind of stink at it, so I play it safe.
Yeah, I like to hold forward the entire time in this whole section just because
I know Cosmic does too.
this one jump right there, that little small jump, is probably the trickiest part about that. And you can tap left because you do have a few extra frames you can waste, but I prefer not to.
Got it. 4-1, the hardest level in the speedrun. What makes it so ridiculously challenging?
Because you try and go for swag all the time, and then he kills you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I am being sarcastic. This is by far the easiest level, not even close. Actually, 8-3, I guess, in a run is pretty easy too. But yeah, you really just, I mean, we can watch it through once more, but I mean, it's just about it. Sorry. Okay. It's just about as simple as you can get. There is nothing close to anything frame perfect about this level. And if you want to make it harder, you can try and collect as many coins as you want. But overall, it's
yeah, simple.
Yep.
If you're a beginner, try 4-1.
But the
See how
next
easy it
level-
is to jump over piranhas.
The next level makes up for it, and we've talked about it at length, but this is where wrong warps really come into play, and is really what set the more recent records apart from all their predecessors. So we will just watch it once more, but keep in mind again that it's bumping up against 2 walls as opposed to 3 walls that makes this record what it is and makes it so insanely challenging to beat.
And I will point out that the run really doesn't start until you complete level 4-2. Nothing prior to that is something that you really become attached to. Like 4-2 is when the heart rate goes up.
Yeah, so Darbian, you beat this 4-2, you're on to World 8, and that's when the heart rate goes up. So the rest of the run is just like really easy, right?
Well, so one thing we actually didn't cover earlier is that in 8-1, there's a 25% chance that the run will just end. You'll automatically miss a bus, and there's a really long explanation you can look up on the speedrun.com forum. But when you start 8-1, there's a 25% chance that you'll get what I call bad judges, where you just randomly lose a frame roll at the end, and it kills the run if you're going for the record. And there's a way to negate that, which is hitting the very first pixel of the star block in the level. You have to hit the star block regardless to get the right frame roll, but if you get this bad luck where 25% of the time the run's going to die, you can negate it by hitting the first pixel of the star block, but by going for that, you run the risk of missing the star block entirely, leaving you with a 0% chance of success. And that was a recent discovery by Muhaha.
Aside from that, is there much going on in this stage? That
It's just a bunch of pipe jumps and then that challenging jump around the Koopas at the end.
It's the longest stage in the whole game, I think, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're doing it under the pressure of knowing you just got this really ridiculously hard trick, so then you have to do all these tight jumps.
Yeah, you literally can't lose any frames in this stage, or else you lose a frame roll. So.
And it used to be harder back in 2013 when I remember watching Kosmic and andrewG do this. That they actually used to do what I guess we call the Goomba jump, where the current strategy involves despawning a Goomba to make the jump into that kind of pit where the Koopa's hopping around easier. But you used to have to do was it a 1 or 2 frame jump?
I think it's 2 frames.
Yeah, you used to have to run up to the set of 3 Goombas and jump on the last 2 frames before they defeat
Felt like
you.
1 frame though. I don't know.
I thought it was 2, but someone told me it was 1 recently.
I thought it was 1 as well.
I think it depends or something. It's
Yeah,
strange to me.
I agree. I don't know why, but I think it does
Maybe it
depend.
has to do with that. If you were going to get bad judges, maybe you have like a different number of frames than if you had good. I don't know.
That would make sense.
Maybe.
So let's head on into 8-2, which is where Mr. Bullet Bill is located. So we'll get to the Bullet Bill, but aside from that, do you guys want to talk a bit about what you're seeing in this stage?
Well, the beginning is sometimes kind of hard for people right when they're first trying to speedrun. It looks like really simple at this point, but the beginning where the Lakitu drops the spiny and you have to like jump under it, those stairs at the beginning are really hard. But once you get those down, you move on. There's the big jump right in the middle of the level, where it's one of the few places in the run where you actually have to slow down. And you slow down just enough so you can jump over this piranha plant and then speed back up. If you slow down too much, then Mario can't go back to full speed until he lands. So you have to slow down just enough so you can keep your speed and go again. And the really particular thing is you have to do it just right, because you have to go the right speed through the level in order for the bullet bill at the end to shoot.
Right. So we had waited, like, in order to set up 8-2, that's why we wait a certain amount of time at the title screen before pressing start. So we literally have to get to this level on the exact right frame rule to even have a shot at manipulating the cannon into shooting at the right time. So it's like everything kind of builds up to this moment in terms of manipulating the game.
It's like knowing, this is the pattern that we need, and to get this pattern we have to play perfectly. So yeah, but the part in the middle of 8-2 is just very awkward.
Yeah, it really is. That was so hard for me to learn when I was playing this game, because it's so different from just about anything else you do in the run. And it really really shows you why Mario 1's physics are so odd at points,
Yeah, like a lot of tassing, they can go back and do different inputs to do RNG manipulation, but because of frame rules, it's cool. We just narrow it down to this one jump over the pipe that you have to do the right inputs for.
And you can't. One other thing to note is that you can't like kill random enemies for fun on this level.
Oh, yeah.
You actually specifically have to defeat the 2 Koopas that we defeat, and I think if you do anything else, it messes up the cannon shot at the end that make it impossible.
So let's move on to 8. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I still kind of don't understand that aspect of it. Like, I understand doing it quick enough, but it's
I think
don't know.
Bulber said it had something to do about the enemy registers and the state that they're in when you spawn the cannon.
There has to be like an open slot for an enemy to come for the bullet bill to shoot.
Okay.
So let's move on to 8-3, one of the most frustrating stages if you're not running the game, but really one of the easiest stages if you are running it. And that's because of the Hammer Bros, if you guys want to talk a bit about how they work.
Yeah, so the enemies in this game that are seemingly random actually can be predicted based on the frame rule you're on. So the idea is that if you spawn them on the same frame from power on, that they'll do the same thing every time. And since frame rules allow you to consistently start stages on known frames, as long as you don't slow down at all, then you could, in theory, spawn these enemies on a very particular frame from power on. And we don't actually try to manipulate them to spawn on a certain frame, but we know, like, if we're 1 frame rule ahead going into 8-3, we see what they do. The next time we're 1 frame rule ahead going into 8-3, they'll do the exact same thing. So we know exactly what these guys are going to do when we're on a real run.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, if you, knowing like 3 seconds worth of Hammer Bro patterns is only knowing, 9 different patterns and memorizing those 9 patterns. So
yeah, I used to have notes saying, like, if I'm plus 0.3 going into this level, they do this. If I'm plus 0.7, they do this. If I'm minus 0.7, they'll do this, and so on.
Yeah.
I wing it. It's except when I know when I am playing perfect, because then I know the pattern.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When I was talking about hitboxes, something that does help with hitboxes and with the Hammer Brothers in this level is when Mario is falling, the game doesn't really check to see if Mario lands on top of an enemy to know if he is going to bounce on them and kill them. It just checks to see if he's falling. So even if you know you're way up in the air and you're about to run right into a Hammer Brother, if Mario is moving downwards, he's going to kill him, even if he just barely touches like his foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. People always, you know, like you jump over a Hammer Brother, and sometimes it'll jump straight up into you, and if you release, you just release A, and then you kill it instead of it killing you. It's very useful.
So that brings us to the last, but by
the other one last thing about 8-3 is that at the end you'll notice that we brush up on the stairs intentionally
watch that.
to avoid getting a 3, having the timer end on a 3, which would spawn fireworks. And I've actually had at least one run with all frame rules that I lost because I failed to successfully do that bump. And I know Cosmic's lost a few PV pace runs as well. So it's like it's not an automatic thing, but you really should never mess it up on good pace, but you probably will at least one time in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So let's head on into 8-4. 8-4 is such an interesting stage just because each room, there are 5 different rooms in the run, and every room has something strange and unique about it, except for maybe the first, which is pretty standard. But let's go ahead and watch that. Oops. So, I mean, 8-1 is really just kind of run along. You do a small jump there. But aside from that, 8-1 is also, or this first room is also fun because people like to criticize the fact that piranha despawns, but that'll happen every time. But it's fun to watch. And then the second room is where the wall jump is. We've seen that a couple times now, but let's just watch it once more. It is one of the most intense parts of the run, I would say, just because it is 2 different one-frame tricks on top of a few other difficult things, like the pixel perfect thing that Kosmic mentioned. But aside from that, is there anything I missed about the first couple of rooms before we get into room 3?
It's like the amount of pressure you feel,
Yeah.
when you have an otherwise perfect run up to this point. I mean, like room 2 is already hard to do, but you can at a high level you can get pretty consistent at it in practice. But like when you're trying to fight off a heart attack at the same time, it's it's
two frame perfect.
Yeah,
it's in a room crazy. at the end of your close to the end of your speedrun, your nerves are out of control.
The pressure doesn't end in this game. It just grows and grows and grows. Like, you get 4-2 and with a 2 bump, you're pretty excited because you may only get a small handful or none of those a night, depending on how consistent you are and how long you play. So you get through 4-2, that's awesome. You get to 8-2, if you make it through with the bullet bill glitch, then that is a huge thing to be able to do, and that has only been done. Is that still like maybe 20 to 25 times or something
I've done
by
it
anybody?
like 14 times myself, and then add andrewG's into it, and that's the total it's ever been done.
So we figure 20 between 25 is probably realistic then, huh?
Yeah, and then I think now 6 or 7. I think, I don't know.
Okay, so you've only people have only gotten to 8-4 on this kind of pace around whatever we're saying, like 25-ish times, 25 to 30, and so you enter into 8-4, which is one of the hardest stages, probably like, I don't know, maybe the 3rd hardest stage, but it's also the only stage where every single mistake you make actually counts towards your time. It's no longer a frame rule thing. You're no longer trying to beat the level with certain strats. You're trying to beat this level as fast as you can, or else you won't hit the record. Darbian's previous record also got Fast 4-2 and the bullet bill glitch, as did many other of the fastest personal bests out there and the fastest times. But Darbian did 8-4 in this run faster than anybody else has, and so that's what got him the record, and he couldn't pull back on just about anything. I mean, that's really what makes 8-4 so insane, because we've talked up to the talked about the first and second rooms, but I guess what I'm getting back to is that, so you finish the second room with this wall jump, and that's another pressure put on you, because then you have to get to the third room, where you have to do another wrong warp quickly. And it's unlikely that you'll fail it, like failing for 2 is a risk, but
I failed it many times.
Yeah, because you need to push it. I mean,
if you're
just
trying to do
doing
it perfectly, yeah,
you have to do it perfectly. So let's talk a bit about this third room, because like for 2, yeah, go ahead.
So the idea in this room is it's another wrong warp, except instead of pushing Mario ahead on the screen, we're actually trying to scroll the screen ahead and then backtracking. So we're trying to trigger the update to that warp destination and then take a previous warp that we've already passed. In this case, it's the pipe before the lava pit, when you're intended to go in the pipe after the lava pit.
Yeah. So you load the water pipe that's on the right. That actually, you don't even see the pipe because it's across the gap. But you load that pipe, and then when you enter the one on the left, it takes you to the water section.
Mm-hmm. And when you're watching someone do this level, you want to look in at the time in the top right corner, and if they get down the pipe with 3:57 left on the clock, that means they did it really well. That's what you're shooting for, is 3:57, and Darbian did it in this run, which makes it really good.
And you can actually watch the right side of the screen for just how close you were to either barely missing it, or how much further right along the screen you went, like how much further you went that you needed to, which wastes time. So looking at the screen here, Darbian, how many pixels off? I mean, how many pixels off of perfect were you?
I'm pretty sure I scrolled the screen 1 pixel further than I needed to. And I think I got the lowest possible 357. I forget how many frames you have to get a 357, but I got the last frame, I believe.
Okay.
This is also one of those rooms where someone who's not familiar with speedrunning it will watch it and say, "Oh, he overshot the pipe because, he had to backtrack to go to that pipe. That wasted at least a second and a half."
Yeah, that's another of my favorite things. And 8-3, the bump up against the wall is another perfect example of that. But I love seeing those comments too that criticize these plays and tricks, which are so carefully calculated.
I like. They also talk about waiting on the stairs at the end of 8-2 because they think you're waiting for the Koopa to jump over you so you can go through.
Oh, right.
So each one of these rooms is unique, but not quite as unique as the fourth room. You're underwater for this one, and that, even though you can't really, you're always swimming the same speed if you're holding right. If you touch the ground, that's really the big risk of this room. So, Darbian, can you walk us through a bit about kind of what you really need to be careful of in this room?
Yeah, so everybody has their own strategy for this room, but it all boils down to accomplishing two things, or I guess 3 things. One is never touching the ground. That's a goal. One is swimming which involves swimming under the fire bar in the middle of the level, and then also touching the ground as late as possible when entering the pipe at the end, or ideally not touching it at all. So everything revolves around staying off the ground here, and you can kind of abuse the hitbox of the fire bar there in the middle by swimming under it. At the end, I do touch the ground because I was paranoid about it, because I had one run where I swam too high at the end and hit the pipe, which kills all of Mario's horizontal momentum and also killed my run. The one other interesting point about it is that when you're in the water, if you do touch the ground, if you're holding right, Mario will slow down faster than if you were not holding right. So once you're at full speed in the water, you can actually let go of the D-pad, and he'll continue swimming at full speed. And that's actually what I started doing, so that if I do touch the ground, I don't lose speed as quickly. I can immediately hit A again and get back in the water, and then hit right to get back up to full speed. So by not holding right, even though I touched the ground at the end, I think I only lost 2 frames.
Yeah, 2 or 3. It's like really significant, the difference. Darbian would have lost a lot more frames if he had not held right there. and um, usually what you're looking for, if Mario goes in the pipe just perfectly, he'll just like disappear like immediately, and it's incredibly hard. It seems like one of the most simple parts of the game. You're just swimming along. You just want to swim right into the pipe, but it's one of the hardest things to do consistently is go in that pipe perfectly.
You can just lose a lot of frames. You might even think you're doing it perfectly, but then you'll look at it later and you go, oh, actually, I lost more frames than I thought I did.
Yeah,
because it's very tricky to get it just right.
And with not holding right, like when Mario lands, even if you're not holding right, he'll land and walk into the pipe, and so that's normally what you want to do. And the reason Darbian lost that run that he mentioned earlier is because he wasn't holding right, and since he ran into the pipe, he lost all his speed. And normally you're just expecting Mario to walk right in, but since he lost all his speed, he doesn't walk in on his own.
Yeah, it's like you just stop because you're not holding the D-pad at all, and then it's like once you realize you have to press right. So it's kind of
I think one other thing I'd like to point out is that the water section is where I saved the time over the previous record. If you look at the video for the 427, I touched the ground in the middle by the fire bar, and I was holding right because I knew I messed up my swim, so I kind of panicked. So that was the blemish on the previous record that I eliminated with this one.
So this is just one more point about the just growing pressure of this game. In 8-4, after the first room, you don't get a break. It just builds and builds and builds. You get the wall jump, and you're just... It's so intense. You're not out of the woods yet. You get the wrong warp. The intensity just grows. You get through the water screen with barely touching the ground, and now there's this one barrier, and that's the Big B himself. Because he can ruin your run. I mean, sometimes in runs, like you get to the last part of the game, and you know you're in the clear, and you just need to finish it out. Not the case here. Bowser can screw you over. Why is that?
Well,
Kosmic, or one of you take this one.
I was going to say, well, with 8-4, like you said, the frame rules don't really matter here. So, every frame counts. So when you get to Bowser is completely, what frame are you on when you get to Bowser could be any given frame. So so based on what frame you get to Bowser, his pattern's going to change. And you really don't know what he's going to do. He could jump forward. He could jump backwards. Sometimes it's not even possible to get by Bowser going as fast as possible, and that's the part that is scary, because you could be doing everything right and still get a run that just is unclearable.
Yeah, when you see us get to Bowser and make that jump, we don't know if we're going to live or not. The general idea, I think, is to try to jump as close to Bowser as you can, because I think that's where it's most likely you'd encounter the hammers that don't have hitboxes. And then you need to also try to land, or try to touch the axe as close to the left side of it as you can, which I did it perfectly here. It's a pretty big window to do that, to grab the axe optimally. But yeah, it's just when you see us make this jump, we don't know if we're going to survive or not. We're kind of watching just like you.
Yeah, it's like someone always referred, I forget who it was, but they always called it the leap of faith for like at the end of the run, the leap of faith, and they made it.
Yeah, sometimes, maybe like a third of the time, I don't know, Bowser will actually jump forward and you can run under him. That is just like the sweetest sight to anyone who's on, like PB pace. You see Bowser jump, it's just freedom. You hope you just don't jump too short on the axe.
I once had a run where he jumped forward and I jumped into him because I misread it.
Oh no.
That was terrible. That was a long time ago, but I never live it down.
I feel like it would be absolutely devastating with the way the run is now to lose a record to that would. If I would have not survived that jump, I'm not sure I would have kept playing the game, because it would have just been too devastating.
It's just like has to play in slow motion for you when you're doing the jump, you know? It's gotta just like that one like quarter of a second has to feel like 1,000 years.
Definitely. But,
all right, well, mhm.
the one I wanted to say, but this run, I just feel like this run is very significant, just in that the route that we established, Darbian did it nearly perfect. I mean, what I mean is, you know, he got all the frame rolls up to 8-4, and then the last stage even finishes in a perfect time under, you know, game time at 3:15, under the current route that we're using and the current strategies that we're using. So it's just very impressive to me.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, this game has such a crazy, crazy history, and to see it beaten up with this time. I mean, obviously, sub 5 was a ridiculous feat, and then 4:58, ridiculous feat. 4:57, or another ridiculous feat, and now it's been pushed to the point where there are no known strats currently. I mean, there are these suspicions, which we'll get into, but right now it implements everything that people are realistically looking to implement in the near future. And so if anyone takes it on, they need to get through 8-3 just like Darbian did, and then beat the last level even faster than he did. And that's no small undertaking.
I mean, those opportunities still happen. Like andrewG on his last stream, he had 2 runs in the same stream make it to 8-4 tied to the frame with the current record.
Nuts. Crazy, crazy stuff. So we talked a little. So that is the record. We've gone through the record in great depth now. Now, one of the most interesting parts about this run is that it's been going on for so long, and one of our guests today, the andrewG 1990, was. I mean, I think you were there for just about the whole run of the game, like the whole duration since it was first really getting competitive. So that's why I'm so glad to have you here, so we can talk it through with you. For starters, can you just walk us through kind of the general timeline of how it started and kind of take us through the big milestones? Maybe tell us a little bit about some of the earliest key runners.
Yeah. So when I started running Super Mario Brothers, the current world record was 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
And when was that about?
That was in 2004. Man, that was long. It's been a long time. 2004. 5 minutes and 20 seconds by this guy named Cam Allen. I think his time is listed on Twin Galaxies still. And that was actually timed, but it was actually 5:20 because they mistimed it on Twin Galaxies, but it was actually timed from start. So it's by our timing, it was 5:20. The way that we currently do. But the runner that really actually progressed the game is a very, very, very notable speedrunner. I would say he's probably he was one of the front runners of speedrunning, and that is Scott Kessler. He pushed the game like no one had before. Mm-hmm. And he did that with a number of different NES games, Super Nintendo games. He had records on just about everything back then. But he got a 5:17 to beat Cam Allen back in, I think, early 2005, which is actually a 5:14 by our time. So he beat him by 6 seconds, but it only looked like it was by 3. And that time was, that time is when I feel like there started to be big announcements about wow, the Super Mario Brothers record was beaten. Scott Kessler gets this time. And as actually interesting is that the day that he got that time, the 5:14, I actually tied the 5:20 time that Cam Allen set. And so so I went on the website, and it's like I'm like looking at, I'm like, oh, it was just beaten, like, oh, I just tied the record, but it was beaten.
Barely beaten.
So that was kind of discouraging, actually, like starting out, because you know, here I am, like, oh, I'm right there. Oh wait, no, now it's 6. I have to do 6 seconds better than what I just did. But Scott Kessler, he progressed the game. He kept going with it, and he brought the time all the way down to 5:10 by himself. He just 5:14 to 5:13. Then I think he went to 5:11 and then 5:10, and then he stopped there. I don't know. Do you want me to keep going as far as the
absolutely.
history?
Well, one question I had about that was, back then the speedrunning community was so sparse that Scott probably didn't have much competition. I mean, you've named a few people, but it sounds like, was he trading the record back and forth much, or was he just pushing it down on his own?
Yeah, he was just doing it himself. I think, I mean, there were people that were interested in competing. I was one of those people that would be like, hey, I'm close, and oh, I beat the record by three more seconds. Oh, okay. Actually, now that I said it was 5:10, I'm sorry, I get mixed up because of the timing differences. It was actually 5:10 by Twin Galaxies, which means his time was actually at 5:07 is where he stopped. He stopped at a 5:07, and then someone else came along, and that person is Trevor Seguin. He kind of came out of the blue, actually. He got this 5:06 time, and people were really impressed with it because it just didn't seem like we kind of thought, okay, Scott Kessler might have reached the limit. But here comes, this other guy with a 5:09 time, and we're like, okay, I think that must be perfect. And we actually only timed it by hold seconds too. So like if someone got like 0.4 seconds better, it didn't really matter. It was just like, oh no, it's 5:09.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, so as these players were pushing the time down and down, what do you recall if partially it was just because new tricks were being found, or were they just doing what everybody else wanted to do but faster?
At that point, it was mostly established like what the fastest routes were. We knew about frame rules to a degree. I never knew that the patterns of the game depended on the frame rules, though. So it was kind of always a guessing game when you played. I would recognize a pattern and just be like, oh, like this level must have 2 or 3 patterns that because I'm always seeing the same 2 or 3 patterns going through a stage, and I would recognize, oh, that's this pattern, I have to do this. So it wasn't like, so we kind of knew that the frame rules existed, and we thought that we knew what the fastest, like we thought we were getting the fastest frame rules, but on a few levels we weren't because of obvious things that we overlooked.
Like, what are examples of those?
Okay, so well, the most hilarious one is just the fact that if you jump at the very top of the flagpole, it can save a few frames to get to the castle at the end of a stage, and this is something that we weren't always doing. So we were losing a few frames here and there on 8-1 and 8-3 especially. We're just not jumping at the top of the flagpole, and we lost the frame rule on both stages without even knowing it. Like despite playing the level essentially the same exacts.
Right, except for
time
that
we have.
last little detail, yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's just so interesting to me that, and it gets you thinking, like, is there possibly, just maybe, anything we don't know now that could be used? Because so much time has been put into tasking the game, and so much thought and research has been put in. And certainly, admittedly, more research than had been put in back in those days. But I mean, you never know, and maybe there will be some crazy time saver that, I mean, who knows what, there are all these other games where just the most insane time saves come out of nowhere, and you just never know if maybe there is, even though everybody these days is so diligent about finding all the little tricks, you never know. You just never know.
Yeah, actually, in the tasks, they're actually 1 frame away in 1-1 from saving another frame rule.
Yeah. It's very close. But
so one video that I really want to show is, you mentioned Trevor Seguin, and he had a record in, I believe, 2006 that stood under the Twin Galaxies definition for, I think, 8 years. Do you recall when that? I mean, do you remember, like, the time when that was set, and do you remember feeling like it was a standout record?
That one actually is that's the one before the one that stood for a long time, actually.
Okay. I changed our notes, and I think what I'm going to be showing is the one that stood for a long time. But yeah, go ahead.
No, that one though. That one was the one that initially beat Scott Kessler's time. Okay. And then what happened was about a year after that, Scott Kessler came back with a 505.
Oh, okay.
And that time stood for. Well, the thing is, it was also glitchless. Mm-hmm. This is another Twin Galaxies thing: is that we knew about certain glitches, but we just didn't use them actually. Mm-hmm. Like the wrong warp in 8-4. We knew that was a thing, and we knew that it saved time, but we didn't use it because Twin Galaxies banned it. And all the Super Mario Brothers speedrunners who also played on Twin Galaxies. So in turn, all of us didn't use glitches, which is kind of funny to say. It's just like weird to think about now because glitches are so mainstream.
So I'm kind of psyched for this. This is actually I want to make sure to give credit where credit is due. I was mistaken. This is Scott Kessler's 505 and not Trevor's run. So let's go ahead and watch Scott's run, which, like we said, is essentially glitchless and stood on Twin Galaxies for 8 years. So let's really just get started with that. And I'm very much looking forward to pointing out times where he either maybe makes a mistake or just doesn't do things that the current record does do, even though, and again, it is glitchless as opposed to today's glitch run. So let's get that started. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. So let's see if he gets the frame rule in 1-1 for starters. Let's see if he exits the pipe with a 380. Because that's really the initial first benchmark. He does get it. And I mean, the rest of 1-1 is pretty straightforward, so I'm sure he did get the same frame rule that Darbian gets.
Yeah, as long as he hits the top of the flagpole.
So moving into 1-2 now, let's see how he does here. I mean, as long as I don't think there are any glitches, so he'll probably just be holding right, and unless he does slow down somewhere, he'll probably still be at the same frame rule as the record. Oh, he does slow down a lot. You guys will have to tell me if that was enough to miss the frame rule. He slows down a ton there, though.
Are you talking about when
seeing
you
it
run
now.
through it right there?
Yeah, the Koopa and the Goombas.
I don't think that was enough to lose a frame rule.
Got it. So he'd probably then, and I'm sure through 4-1, will still be on par with a record, on pace with a record. And then 4-2 is where we're really going to see some drastic differences. Because what is it about glitchless in 4-2 that he won't be able to, like, that he'll be omitting? Does he have to basically just go up the vine proper?
It's actually
Yeah,
a
with-
pretty tough to get up to the vine normally. It's like almost harder than
Yeah,
doing the
it's-
wrong warp itself.
both are pretty tricky. I know I've learned how to do both methods. So doing the vine quickly is actually you can get a 378 going onto the vine, and typically you get a 377 when you do it glitchless. I think that a 378 will just barely get you the frame rule for 4-2.
So what is it that makes it so complex exactly? Because, I mean, getting up to it is fine. And then basically it's just timing your jumps with the kind of awkward physics. That's the challenge.
The tricky thing is because you have to jump on a, you hit the coin, the invisible coin block, and jumping straight up without, like, there's a block straight up on top of, I'm trying to say straight above the coin block that you hit. So it's kind of like you have to be on the very edge of the block when you jump up. And then the other thing is just getting onto the vine is kind of, you have to jump on. You can't jump too high or you'll jump over the vine. You have to jump at the right spot on the vine. So it's tricky, for sure. I don't know if he probably did that perfectly for.
I'm going to rewind to the beginning of 8-1 since we weren't talking about it. So let's.
I was impressed that in the warp zone he jumped from the first pipe to the third one.
The way he did the whole warp zone was really hard.
He would always do that, which is kind of interesting. Actually, that's the way that I used to do it. Just because I didn't know that you could even do it any other way. Somehow I didn't know that. Also, doing a turnaround to drop down is kind of tricky too.
So, do you have any idea just how many frame rules that would have lost between the 2 bump versus what he did?
Yes, it's. I think I've calculated this out. It's 5.2 seconds, I think. So
that's like 16.
5.2 divided by 0.35.
Okay.
Is
a whole fleet of buses you missed.
Yeah.
His bus got delayed a lot.
Yeah, so it saves about 5 seconds, and the first time that was used was actually in a run that I did, because I figured out the way to get the wrong warp in real time and do it quickly. And I was the first one to do that. I just kind of came up with the method.
Got it. So let's get into seeing how he did 8-1 way back in the day.
If we see any slowdown in this level at all, it means he loses his frame rule.
I bet he doesn't hit the first pixel of the star block.
I know
Yeah.
he does. I'm sure he loses a frame rule.
Yeah.
Or at least I'd think so, because I think at this point we didn't know that the top of the flag was faster. He may have gotten it though. Actually, he was. I feel like he may have known more.
Oh
than
no, he didn't. He didn't do the Goomba jump we were talking about earlier, or hit the star block.
Yeah, so he jumped behind that set of 3 Goombas before the kind of the dungeon with that Koopa in it, and you need to jump in front of them to avoid slowing down at all.
I don't think either of us knew that you could even gain a frame rule on this one.
Right.
So he's probably going to just lose 1
Because,
frame rule compared to
because I remember getting I got a really high 199, and it was the same as getting what he just got in one of my runs.
Mm-hmm.
So he just lost 1 frame rule over the current best state one, right?
Yep. So now he's like plus 16 frame rules or something.
So here we are in 8-2. Is the bullet bill glitch considered a glitch? I assume so, huh?
Had any human even done that in real time at this point, Andrew?
This wasn't even known at all.
Oh, true, right.
The
it
tasks
wasn't-
at the
it
time
wasn't
didn't
just-
even have it.
It wasn't discovered, no.
All right, so here we go with 8-2. Let's see how he does.
At this point, the wrong warp in 4-2 was known, but there wasn't any method to do it. And the other thing is that mysterious teleportation by Speed Demo's Archive was not allowed, actually, at the time. And there was a glitch that teleported you from the left side of the screen to the right using Divine. You might know what I'm talking about in 4-2. And that could potentially have saved time, but Speed Demo's Archive didn't even allow it at the time. A few months later, they got rid of that rule, but it was kind of like oh, there's no way they that do this.
Yeah, so really, I guess then in 8-2, the only challenging part is that piranha jump, huh?
I don't remember. I didn't.
It's paused right now, but it looks like he's too low on the flagpole to save this frame rule.
Oh, okay.
If he did
otherwise, I think he did it right. Yeah.
If he jumped without doing a slow jump over the middle piranha plant, then it's the fastest frame rule. Or if he did the slow jump, then he missed it.
Okay. Gonna go ahead and on to 8-3. I mean, I don't know. So did you guys know at the time, Andrew, how these hammer bros would work? I mean, it's hard to say because it's not like you might not have potentially kind of gotten here on the same frame rule, whether you guys knew about how that worked or not. But I mean, I don't know if you guys might have seen kind of the same types of patterns, you know?
Yeah, I think usually when I got here, I would just end up winging it, like, because I wasn't really sure what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain patterns that were favorable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, andrewG, in your run on STA, don't you get that frame rule where you have to jump under the third Hammer Bros hammer? I think you do. So you'd have to know the frame rules at that point, I guess. But
on that one, I think I did. Yeah, I can actually. I played 8-3 enough that I can actually wing it no matter what, though, because I look at the very right edge of the screen when I'm jumping, like, you know, when you don't know if they're going to be top, middle, or bottom. Like, I'm looking at the right side of the screen, and I jump up, and if I see oh, he's at the top, then I'll just go to the middle, or actually I can go down too. It's tricky but possible. But I learned that just because it kind of was required back then.
So, what should we expect in 8-4? I don't think he'll do the wall jump, right?
No.
So he
Actually,
won't do the wall. Mm-hmm.
The other thing, he was doing a glitchless run, but even if he wasn't, the wall jump, we kind of considered it too dangerous for the run. We knew about it.
Interesting.
And you can actually get in the pipe that you wall jump off of at 365 without wall jump if you're really fast. So that'll give you an idea of how much time he could have saved without it.
Mm-hmm. So just kind of hitting that hidden block.
Yeah, he's a little slow on that.
Yeah.
Did you all know that one frame jump was possible at the start of Room 2, or did you always just slow down?
That's a good question. I think we just slowed down. I don't think I don't know if we knew, actually. I didn't know that it was possible.
Looking back at that water section, he slows down so much.
The Hammer Bro was very different from how we do it normally.
So this
Over
is
the bro.
this is close to I mean, for what we knew at the time, this is a perfect glitchless run to the second. So it was, by Twin Galaxies, perfect at the time. I did actually last year. I actually decided to try and beat this time glitchless, and I did manage to with the new strategies. But that run stood for 8 years, I think.
That water section though is just so nasty. Like that would be.
You can see how much slower holding right is.
Yeah.
Wow, I never realized just how much.
But I mean, all of those mistakes together in the water, maybe half a second really it cost.
True.
Which was, wasn't a deal breaker at that
Right.
point.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's interesting to imagine, but even though it stood for so long and even though it was held in such high regard, the standards back then were just kind of a lot lower, and that's not even trying to take anything away from his run, because I don't mean that at all, but just the fact that there was lower competition, etc., just kind of ended up meaning that the standards were a bit lower than what we have now, where every single second counts, not just in this game, but across all games. And that's just kind of how it was, and understandably so, I think.
Yeah, this was. I mean, and this run was honestly like one of the most like, wow, that's a good run.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and we look at it now, and it's like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
Why did he turn around in the water? Is he silly?
Yeah.
I mean, every game goes through this stage, and it's speed running. I don't know if you want to call it career, but every game is at this level of optimization at some point. So it's really cool to see this kind of Mario 1, what it was like back then, like what the best run was like back then.
Yeah, I think that run was 2000. That run was 2006, I think. I want to say.
If you guys in chat want to read an article at the time, just kind of praising this run to the extent that we have, then I'll link that in chat right now for you. Bookmark that for later and go back to it if you feel like it, because it's an interesting little article that really just praises it so highly. So interesting little read there. So that was a really cool watch. I was never sure kind of what was defined as a glitch and what wasn't, but that was a really great answer and answered a lot of my questions. So then this run was completed, and then what point was it where I suppose STA comes along and there's this interest in saying, okay, that was glitchless and that's awesome, but we know about so many of these other things, from wall jumps to, I don't know if wrong warps were a thing yet, but we want to implement all these other ideas that are possible in the game, but currently banned under the Twin Galaxies rule set. So around what point was that, and what was the competition for like then, Andrew?
So as far as, okay, so like he was doing a glitchless run. And that was his intention, because he wanted to submit it to Twin Galaxies and get it approved. But he also submitted it to Speed Demo's archive. So, but at the time that he did that, the only things that we knew about were actually just that he didn't use were just the wall jump and the wrong warp in 8-4, which together probably save about a second total. But the wall jump wasn't even something that we would actually even go for at the time. So really the only thing that he intentionally didn't use for this run was the wrong warp. He said, I could have used it, but I chose not to because it's only half a second and Twin Galaxies wouldn't accept it otherwise. But when Speed Demo's archive established that, mysterious teleportation wasn't allowed, and They had some like no out of bounds rules for a little while. Early, like mid 2007, they decided, oh, we'll accept every glitch, never mind. But before that, it was basically most glitches are accepted, but no mysterious teleportation and no out of bounds glitches. And at the time, I was speedrunning, I'm speedrunning Super Mario Brothers still, trying to get the record from Scott Kessler. I tied Trevor Seguin's time when he got it, and then Scott Kessler beat both of us with this run that you just showed. Mm-hmm. And after that, I didn't care. I honestly said, I don't care what Speedrunners Archive says. I don't care what Twin Galaxy says. I want to know what time I can get on this game without any limitations. And I knew about the wall jump. I knew about the different glitches. And it just so happens that I happened to just realize by luck that there was a way to get the wrong warp in 4-2. Like the task did it, but they did it in a different way. Mm-hmm. So I figured out that there's a way, and there's a good way to get the wrong warp to work in 4-2 for real time. And I was the first one to figure that out. And the cool thing is that I didn't tell anyone about it. I kept that to myself. And I spent about 2 months trying to do a run and finally got it. And then I released my video of me getting 5 minutes, a 5-minute flat run with this new trick that no one's ever seen and a wall jump. And that's why that video blew up on. I feel like everyone was really, really hype over that run just because I intentionally tried to. I wanted to surprise everyone, and I successfully did.
Right.
It's kind of funny too, because it's you don't see hidden tactics like coming out of nowhere nowadays. You see someone finds something, you 10 minutes, a minute later, oh yeah, I know about that. Nowadays, so that was a pretty big deal, and it was just cool, and I like the surprise. So,
and then after that, it's kind of an arbitrary thing, but no matter what, when you're that close to being able to say I beat this game in under 5 minutes, it's just so exciting to be able to finally get to that point. Was that your final goal at that time? How did that factor in?
My goal with this game is kind of like I once I got that time, I kind of just wanted to keep going with it, actually, and I kept seeing like what's the lowest I can get here. I keep getting lower and lower. New things are being discovered, and I keep getting lower. And my goal, I guess, with this game has always just been how low can I go? And that's why I'm still playing it, because I enjoy it so much, and it's interesting to see how low it's gotten now, and to see whether it'll keep going lower and whether I will even be the person to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so awesome hearing that story, because the past 13 years, I suppose, of the history behind this run has just seen so much action, so many new tricks and strategies, and even just outside of that, just raw effort being poured into it. And it's so cool that the community now is so very alive and so awesome, and it's just even trying to push it further and further, or on an individual level, trying to do the best that they can. And there are people that are not necessarily trying to get the record, but just trying to get sub 5 for the mere fact that they can say, I got sub 5 in Super Mario Brothers, and it's just so cool to see. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I like being able to. Yeah, I like seeing how many people are running this game now. Because it was after I beat Scott Kessler, it kind of was. I'm a one-man show, and honestly, like I like having the record, but having competition is better because it lowers the time, but it makes it more fun, and
Yeah,
it's fun to
certainly.
have a community, and we get to do things like this now instead of me just sitting alone in my room being like, I got a time, yay.
Yeah. So I'm
So it's
interested
really
in hearing. I'm interested in hearing a bit about Darby and Cosmic, how you guys wound up finding the game as well. So Darby, let's start with you. What drew you to Mario Bros. In the first place?
So I got into speedrunning in January of 2013 when I saw AGDQ. That was the first time I really saw a speedrun with some context to it, where glitches were explained, and I saw that they were being done on real hardware with real controllers by real people, and it was completely legitimate. So I knew it was something I wanted to get involved with, and I had tried to speedrun a couple of games unsuccessfully for my first project, but the first one I successfully learned was Super Mario Bros. Warpless. And the reason I chose that was because of Speedruns Live Seasons, which a lot of people, if you weren't around back then, you probably don't remember, but I think it's still actually on the site. It was an event that Speedruns Live held where I forget how many games were chosen, but basically a popular category was chosen from 10 or 12 different games, and those games got a special leaderboard for a period of, I think it was supposed to be 2 months, where the top 3 finishers after those 2 months on that leaderboard would get some little prize on their profile or something, which I'm still waiting on, by the way. But so that's what I looked at, that list of games, and that was the only one I was confident that I could probably learn. So I got out the emulator and practiced it and learned all the tricks, and then I think I did my very first stream in middle of April of 2013, and it was a race of Warpless, and I got like a 21 something. I think Kosmic was in that race too, and I think Ninja Bro won it, and Cosmic nearly came in second, and I think I might have gotten third. But that drew me into speedrunning and Mario specifically, and then toward the autumn of 2014, about a year and a half later, is when I actually started my splits for any percent with the goal of getting a sub 5. And then once I finally achieved that time, then I realized I knew how to do everything in the run that the current record does, so I just kept going and to see where it would take me.
Cool. Cosmic, how about you?
So I started exactly 1 year before Darbian, January 2012. I just saw a random race of Super Mario Bros. On Speedruns Live. I'd found it earlier through... I started with Ocarina of Time. I just saw like glitches and thought they were cool, and in one of the glitch videos they had a link to Speedruns Live, so I found it that way. And then one day I saw a race of Super Mario Bros. And thought, I have this game, I'll join the race. I got like an hour and 10 minutes for a Warps race. It was pretty ridiculous. But I entered another one shortly after and got like 10 minutes or something, because I kind of figured it out. And there's something about this game, I guess because it's just feels so possible to get so close to that perfect run. You're never satisfied. You see it happen with every single person that plays. They're like, oh, I just want like 510. Well, maybe I want sub 5. I got to get 458, like that kind of a thing. And that's what I did. I went to the warpless side for a while because I was like, oh, warps record, that's impossible. So I watched the warpless record and saw all these mistakes, and I started trying to beat the warpless record, which I actually did in like November 2012. I was playing on the Wii Virtual Console version back then, though, which runs a little bit slower, and over the course of warpless, it cost me like 5 seconds. And that warpless record's like way outdated by now. But then once I got that, I switched back to warps and decided, maybe I could sub 5. For a long time, I thought I was the second person to get sub 5, but it's possible. I just learned that there's 3 Japanese runners that have sub 5 that I didn't know about, and they may have gotten it before me. I don't know. But basically what happened the whole time was like, andrewG, I can't beat him. And I would get kind of close, but it's like, okay, this is my stopping point. And then he would improve. I'm like, oh, there's like all this time.
Sounds remarkably similar to the way Andrew was saying that someone was always a step ahead of him, I feel like.
Yeah, it is exactly like that.
It is very similar to me and Scott Kessler, honestly.
I was always like one frame rule behind, and he would like incorporate the next trick, like fast 4-2 to get a new frame rule, and I was like, okay, and then I would improve, but now he does fast 4-2, so I can't get any better. And yeah, that's the story of my Super Mario Bros. Life.
I remember when I first went on Speedruns Live, and I was completely new to speedrunning, and I saw andrewG streaming a lot of Mario 1 with the title of 457 attempts, and I was so clueless back then that I had assumed that Super Mario Bros. Had been perfected, because in my head you just run through every level, you dodge every enemy, you never slow down, so you get a perfect time. So I just assumed that 457 in Super Mario Bros. Was like this huge tied world record that a ton of speedrunners had, and andrewG was just trying to tie everybody else. And I tuned into his stream, and I was so clueless because I would always just see him play up to 4-2, stop on the pipe, and then reset. Play up to 4-2, stop on the pipe, and reset. And I had no idea what was really going on, and it wasn't until another year or so passed that I finally understood everything that was going on there. So now I can actually appreciate the runs that I watch a lot more.
Cool stuff. So we're going to keep talking through some things. I did just want to mention real quick, we didn't mention this at the start of the stream. As we close out, we are going to be actually featuring races between these three players, as well as opening it up to whoever else wants to join. So as we finish up, and we do still have quite a bit to talk about, honestly, but as we get through that, if you want to, join Speedruns Live and just get your stream set up while you listen, that would probably be a good idea, simply because we're going to be looking to do those races pretty quickly, since we're streaming them as well. But before that, we do still have a bit to go through. One thing I'm curious about, Andrew, I know you have very concrete thoughts on this matter. How far do you think that we could go right now, merely with what's known? We've talked about how Darbian gets up to 8-4 in an ideal way. So beyond that, how far exactly do you think we can go with what's known?
Well, I don't know. It's a tricky question. I'm gonna say that under 457 is possible. Just because I think with the fast acceleration trick incorporated in 8-4, and a little bit of practice, and maybe even some new technique in 8-4. I think that we could save enough frames to maybe get under 457, but it would take a miracle kind of run for that to happen. And I think the same is true as if you tried to do the flag glitch in 1-1, which has only been done in real time like three times or something now. Again, getting that in a run would again be a miracle kind of run. So I kind of put a time as 456.99 is like my this could happen time, but it probably won't.
Would you be needing downward acceleration or backward acceleration, for example, is something that you need to go in saying, I'm going to be doing this instead of the way I might play otherwise. Right. So do you feel like you need to go in with that different mindset in order to get that 457, or
definitely to get under 457, you would have to be definitely aiming for it. You know, because with the current route you can only save 11 frames, and saving 11 frames would get you a 457.09, I think. So you would have to do it to actually get a 456.99 if it's even humanly possible. But I'm sure that it is, because the current current Cosmic's individual level is only a frame off of sub 457.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did individual level attempt of 8-4 with the fast accelerations, and yeah, the best 8-4 that's ever been done will only get a 457.01.
Got it. And then Cosmic, I mean, beyond that, so is there anything else kind of on the cusp of being figured out that we might be able to introduce to runs to speed it up even more?
Beyond
like, are
fast
there any?
acceleration.
Because, like, I know that, for example, in the task, maybe thinking about the task and what it does that that the speed run doesn't. Like, is there any way, for example, to do zips, or maybe, like, I know that the flagpole glitch is a hot item. Is there anything?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think those are possibilities?
Yeah, a lot of the time, for those who don't know, the task with our timing is like 454.03 or something like that. And the reason it's able to be 3 seconds faster is because the bullet bill glitch that we do, the task can do, it's not exactly the same. The way the task does it only saves one frame rule, but since it can be perfect, it does it on every single flagpole and saves, a few seconds over the course of the run.
It's like a frame rule. Every single stage that has a flagpole, they're saving like one frame rule over our times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so it's like possible, like, because andrewG was saying earlier, like, they knew about wall jump, but like no one really went for it. Maybe one day we'll figure flagpole glitch out well enough that we can see it as a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Time will tell, because I'm sure several years ago, I mean, maybe a few years ago, people were talking about Fast Forward 2 in a way that right now we're talking about flagpole glitch. You maybe a consistent method will be found, or maybe someone that insane will come up and just be willing to reset that much for doing flagpole glitches.
Yeah.
So,
the bullet bill glitch is exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
And Blubler getting that was, just that was something that I said it's not consistent, and I'm saying the same thing about the flag glitch, but again, it progresses, so I might be wrong.
I learned a long time ago to never assume that a game is completely solved, because I think I learned that lesson when, in a pretty short amount of time, there were glitches found in Super Mario World and Super Mario Bros. 3 that allowed those games to be completed faster than Mario 1.
And I was hoping you'd say Wally Bear, but I guess Super Mario World is cool too. Yeah, cool. We'll see what the future holds. So we've talked in great depth about any percent. I do just want to touch on Warpless as well. We won't be watching the run or anything like that, but I'm curious to what, because the record right now is 1905.89, held by Blubler, who is also known as IOL. I'm curious to what extent you guys feel that can be, how optimal that is, and just how many tricks that introduces, which are similarly extremely difficult to what you see in any percent, but just kind of don't get talked about as much just because it's a slightly less popular run. I guess, Cosmic, maybe you'd be the right person to talk to about that.
About what specifically? Sorry.
Well, about Warpless and kind of how optimized the record currently is, and how many tricks there are that are extremely difficult, but you just don't hear talked about as much.
Right. So, for a while, Warpless was only done without power-ups, but it was kind of known that you could get the Fire Flower, and when you kill Bowser and touch the axe, it doesn't show the bridge breaking and Bowser falling in. Mario just goes right on to talk to Toad or Peach or whatever. And theoretically, that could save like 10 seconds, but no one really did it until, I think, Hoda Ruby, a Japanese player, was the first one. And Blubler has really taken that down to where it used to be like warpless, there could still be like 10 seconds saved, you know, but the 1905 is really good. From here, maybe only another couple seconds, few seconds. It's really optimized now, and I think the reason it's so much harder to take it lower is because Bowser, it's hard to sometimes he's random and you have to hit him with all the fireballs really quickly. So
well, the other thing that makes Warpless a little frustrating is that it's to the point now where even if you play really, really well, if you make one tiny mistake, like lose a frame rule somewhere, then in levels like 5-4 where there's fire bars, you'll get a bad pattern that requires you to wait for a couple of seconds to get through. So it's really to the point where it's kind of crazy now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1905 was actually my goal time with Warpless when I was running it, and I got like, I don't even know what my time is.
1912,
10, 11, 12, somewhere there. 1912. When I got 1912, I had runs on 1905 pace, like, and that I did that I think only once to World 7, and I lost it. But I always thought 1905 would be a very, very good time, and like probably 1902 would be the absolute limit. That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous when in a 19-minute run, one of the largest time savers comes from not getting hit by Bowser and losing the power up, which is like that's like 2/3 of a second or something. I don't know.
84 frames, I think.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we're kind of getting into the last couple of things. If you guys have any questions you guys in chat have any questions for Darbian or Kosmic or Andrew, please let us know. In the meantime, I'll start out with one question, which is, if anyone in chat today was enthused about the run and wants to get into it themselves, how would you suggest that they start learning the game? Whoever is the most passionate about the topic.
I know that Cosmic has created a tutorial for some beginner speedrun strats for the game, and I've created a tutorial that's on YouTube showing all of the record strats, which isn't necessarily a beginner's tutorial, but it does educate you on a lot of the non-obvious aspects of the game. But Super Mario Bros. is kind of simple enough that you can just watch, and you typically don't wonder how somebody does something. You just watch and see that they do it, and then you can try to emulate it. That's how I learned it initially.
If you guys message me, I'll just like walk you through it. I actually like to do stuff like that. So.
But yeah, if you hop in any of our streams, we're happy to answer questions. I do it all the time on mine. It helps pass the time sometimes.
Cosmic, your tutorial is the knowledge base link, right? Or is that different?
Mine's just a YouTube video.
Oh,
it's not that good if you want to get like a pretty good time, but it will point out some strategies that you might not know that are just for like really easy runs to get like a 520 or something.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Walrus asks, and I know one of our guests is very passionate about this actually. Does anyone happen to know what the nation's leading privately held building materials supplier to professional contractors, home builders, remodelers, and die-hard do-it-yourselfers is? Bad Breaks, I think this is your forte, right?
Yeah. I want Andrew and Cosmic to guess.
That was too long for me to even.
Nintendo of America.
Oh yeah.
Close. That's a thing that exists.
Your understanding?
Darb Lumber.
The answer is of course 84 Lumber.
Yeah, so I don't think we have any questions. Hopefully that means that we did a good job explaining the run and the history of the game and the community and all that. So if you guys want to get in any last questions, we can field them. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for joining us. Bad Breaks, if you want to help us out with linking to their streams so that you guys can follow them, all three of these guys, phenomenal runners. If there are any shout-outs you guys want to give, what would they be? Darbian, let's start with you.
I mean, for me, I actually would like to shout out the people in the Skull Kosmic and andrewG. You guys were the ones that I watched in 2013, the crazy Mario runners that inspired me to stick with the game and get to the level that I'm at now. And I'd also like to have a shout out to Blubler for contributing so much knowledge to this game recently, including the method we use for accurately timing the runs now. This is one of the few games that you can perfectly time down to the individual frame rendered, not just counting frames from a recording and arriving at a final time that way. We can actually recreate the run in an emulator, get the exact frame count, and multiply it by the frame rate of the NES. And when you have PBs that are single frames apart, like at one point my PB was 1 frame behind Blubler's record, any error in timing would overlap there and not allow us to actually see which run is faster. So I think that's a huge contribution that he came up with, in addition to actually getting the record and the warpless record.
Yeah, that was a very, very useful idea for timing accurately. Actually, I was against it at first just because it's not standard in that, like, all the other runs time it, by the video frame count, and so I was kind of opposed to it at first. But it's technically more accurate, so I agree with it now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Blubler, Bad Breaks just posted his Twitch again, but I mean, he has the warpless world record. He was the first person to get 457, and yeah, he just doesn't get a lot of attention. If you like Mario speedruns, he's always running. I think now he's doing like warpless of Mario All-Stars or something. He's always running some Mario game.
Yeah, definitely shoutouts to Blubler. Shoutouts to Some West for sneaking up and getting a 457. Just I didn't know he was that close. So yeah. Congrats to him. And shoutouts to all my competitors. And you guys are the reason I play. Really. I mean, you make it a lot more fun for me. And also the tassers that helped progress the run. Happy Lee especially, because he's just he's me in the task world as far as he's just doing everything Mario, and that's all he does. But Happy Lee, Coombs KLMZ, he's also a notable tasser. And then there's the older ones like Phil Genesto and Palm, but definitely props to them for helping me improve, and we kind of collaborate, and it's a lot of fun.
Shout outs to Barn Owl for being my competition when I was getting into the game.
And JeffXVX created a ROM hack that we've all used to practice 4-2 and test out new strategies for consistency. That's kind of been invaluable.
There's also the frame rule chart.
Yeah, Nick J created...
Oh, yeah.
Going back to the timing method that Blubler came up with, Nick J actually created Nick J109 created a spreadsheet that shows it has a link to a YouTube video for each individual Bowser pattern. So you just kind of find the Bowser pattern you got in your PB, and then it tells you what the time is based on what strategies you use. So we can now time runs within a few minutes after they happen.
Oh.
And also our very own Muhahahas for figuring out the 8-1 judges.
Yeah, that was... I'm still kind of blown away that something like that was...
I'm glad someone took the time to figure that out, because it kind of is like something we should know.
Yeah.
At this level of... I see a question here. I don't know. I guess it says, For Andrew, would you be willing to reset constantly for flagpole glitch if you could get a sub 457? My answer is no if it's really impossible, but yes if I can get it like 1% of the time.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
if I can get it 1% of the time, maybe I'll try.
How about if somebody gets it? If somebody gets it at least 1% of the time, because then I know that you definitely could, right?
I guess, yeah. I'd rather go for fast acceleration, to be honest, though.
Why not both?
No.
Oh goodness, 455. Why not?
456.7. I can't even imagine that.
So let's. We do have one more question. I'll mention that in a second. But before that, let's start changing focus over to the race. So the race channel is open. If anyone's interested, wants to head on over to Speedruns Live and join that race. The race channel, I will link it in chat. Like that. We are going to get started very, very soon. So I guess Darbian and Andrew, since Cosmic's already in, if you guys want to join real quick and start getting set up. The way we're going to do this, it is going to be any percent, of course, and we're just going to say the first person to win 2 matches will take the gold. So it could be anywhere from 2 to 4 matches long, this series of races. It's going to be a lot of fun. Do you guys want to stay in Skype, or do you want to be able to focus?
I'm fine with staying in Skype.
Yeah,
I think we should do that.
Okay, cool.
Are we doing like a dot race like
Yeah.
doing? Okay.
Yeah.
I hardly ever don't race very often. I mean on Speedruns Live. You know. Oh.
Oh. So it'll be just a few minutes while we get set up. In the meantime, you guys can either get real comfy so that you can watch, or like I said, join the race yourselves. We are going to try and get these going as quickly as possible. So once our guests are ready, we'll really only wait like no more than 30 seconds before removing anyone unready, just to keep it as effective as possible. So we do want to get moving quickly. But in the meantime, just hold tight and we'll get started soon. One thing I really like about watching races of this game is it is so short and it's so easy to die or mess or have some catastrophic mistake that it really is anybody's game. So sure, Darbian holds the record. These other guys are whatever, like less than a second behind him in terms of their PBs. So that's barely any difference anyway. And on top of that, it's so easy to lose a lot of time.
Racing's so hard because if you're going to be safe and make it so like I will never die, I have these race strats, like you're going to have to remove so many pipe jumps and things that you probably won't go fast enough to win anyway.
I know that you guys have said, for one thing, that if you're not aiming to get below a 505, then it's okay to you. Then you can go ahead and learn the game using Fire Mario strats. So that's for one thing. One thing to keep in mind if you want to get into the game. But do you feel like Fire Mario is a viable race strat to stay safe, or is that just too safe? Because it does take out like a lot.
I think Blubler, when he races, he uses fire and like consistently gets these 5-11 times over and over again because it takes a lot of the. It replaces a lot of the more challenging parts of the run with something consistent. So you can certainly be faster, small Mario. So it comes down when you're racing somebody really good with fire. It just comes down to either you have a good run of small Mario and you beat them, or you make like one mistake and you lose by a lot.
So far, we've got in this race andrewG, Barn Owl, Darbian, Cosmic D, Mav 6771, Rodrigo, and Whitman Price. Really solid runners. I know Mav. Did Mav get a sub 5?
Mav is not.
I think he's 2 frames off.
Ah, that's how it goes. So close. So it will be a little challenging to call this stream because I think I'm going to have to be dealing with Twitch delay, but we'll do our best, of course.
I put a timer on mine so we can at least
duh.
know the times at the end.
Hopefully we could see you guys at a GDQ sometime racing against one another. That would be swell.
That's my dream for AGDQ 2017.
Yeah, let's do it.
Gauntlets thrown.
All right.
I think it's really funny how none of us have met each other yet.
Oh,
But
I
we've
didn't
all
think about that.
done runs at GDQs and attended multiple GDQs between us, and none of us have met.
That's really bizarre.
I'm not sure if this is. Am I showing up on?
I see your stream on Hitbox.
There's a lot of windows on my screen. I'm up. Okay. All right. Cool.
All right, whenever you. Okay.
I always have to record. If I don't record, it's a bad thing.
So we're just waiting on one, and then we'll be going.
I'm waiting on Rodrigo.
Okay,
There
here we
you
go. Race is starting. Good luck, guys. Make it count. All right. I can't wait to see what happens. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. All right. Beep, boop, beep, ba-doop, beep. That's coming through. Let's do it the next time, I guess.
Whose audio are we hearing?
Andrews, I
Andrews.
think.
It's
Oh yeah, it's probably me.
We got 380, 380, and 380. So 380s. Everyone's on pace to hit the first frame rule. Heading into
We're ahead of
1-2.
all three of the AGDQ racers at this point.
Oh man, we're 2 frame rules ahead of Darby.
Heading into 1-2. It's the first chance for a realistic death here. To what extent will they play it safe, or will they be real daring?
I screwed up.
Yeah, I'm bad. Darbian's probably winning.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm tied. I'm on world
Oh,
record
there's a
pace.
screw up.
You win, Darbian. You've
What?
already
Sir,
won.
Darby,
I split out of habit, so I stopped my timer.
Oh no.
what frame roll? What frame roll did you guys start on?
I started on the first one, so I'd have
Yeah.
to
For the record,
intentionally just do slow 4-2.
You guys
and
are
lose
basically all tied. For all the complaints, you guys are tied.
I screwed up.
Yeah,
It's
well, you
over.
have to play. So you lost like a second or something. Meanwhile, Darbian's timer is stopped.
I'm not sure
Darbian-
if it's active. Oh, I think it's
That means
active.
That means Darbian loses by default.
No, he got a 103. He crushed you guys.
Hey, don't
That
mess
doesn't
up.
matter.
and
He
jump
stopped his timer.
forwards.
All right, 4-2. I assume everyone's going for 3 bump, but let's
Interest
see
to make up some time.
All right. Darb has mentioned in the past that if you mess this up, it's the worst possible thing you can do in a race. If you go down to the coin cache.
Yeah, that is the worst possible thing you can do.
Oh, do it. Oh.
Did you make the screen scroll or something?
No, I went 1 pixel too far on the pipe.
Oh, dang.
All right. Well, we've got 1 underdog currently, and 2 people very close to one another.
I'm very close to everyone.
Kosmic safe. You're not close to Darbian. Kosmic safe out a bit with. I think he was doing the pipe jumps pretty safe. Not that pipe jump.
Oh,
With that one. So Andrew actually did 8-1, a bit riskier than Kosmic, so he is still in the lead.
I don't know what just happened.
Whoa! Andrew almost makes a critical mistake, but recovers with an insane wall jump to get him out of the hole. Loses some.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was a wall jump. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, it looked like it to me.
You
But
all
we're
jumped out of the stairs hole?
yeah, he did. That makes us basically tied again. I don't know if you guys are going for a bullet bill. They'll probably react to how they see it coming out. The piranha jump in 8-2, of course, is a big deal as well.
Oh,
What happened? Are you fine? What's the oh? Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. So Andrew loses some time from going for the bullet bill glitch. Cosmic does not wait for it. He can't be arsed with that, as they say. So now Cosmic has a bit of a lead.
Dang!
8-3. So who knows what frame roll they're on?
That is like
They
the
don't.
rarest pattern ever.
And so they have to react
good
to
thing
what
or
the
bad?
Hammer Bros
ooh, oh my
give
gosh.
them. Oh!
Oh.
Cosmic gets slammed by a hammer.
Oh, I got slammed by no
By
by
no
a
hammer.
Stupid
Firework?
Bullet.
No,
Okay.
I lost
And,
the frame.
Andrew gets through 8-3 safe and sound. Cosmic has a bit of a time loss here. So Andrew, not to whisper this into his ear, but he could play 8-4 pretty safe and win. But
I also play it perfectly and win.
Dude, I'm right behind you. You're gonna have to jump through axes if you want to win.
Darby and all of a sudden an 8-4, giving Andrew a run for his money all of a sudden. Andrew gets the wall jump. He doesn't care about playing it safe. He's going to go for that wall jump. And of course, maybe he plays it a bit safe with the wrong warp, but that's okay. So we just have the big B and the
I
swimming
activated
area.
a glitch. Look at
Yeah,
I
what's this glitch? Why are you so big, Darbian?
I went through the Koopa at the end. I'm not sure.
That's a nice glitch too. All right. Oh, and
I
waiting him out. But
I did a lame
finishes it up
finish.
with a 5:07, which would have beaten any of the HDQ times. So well done to Andrew for taking the first race. Kosmic is, they're playing for second now. Oh, what was that, Kosmic? I don't know what to say about that, but
Yeah, me neither.
Kosmic tries his darndest, but can't quite make it through the lava pit to.
I was
to-
going for walkathon, dude.
Oh, okay.
Not really.
This is his last life, so even though you'd never think it, Darbian does have a chance to catch up with him. And Darbian is Gigantoid Mario. What is this?
Dude,
And
the-
trying to laugh?
Potoboo is out to get me, man.
Yeah, the Potoboo is risky in 8-4 as well.
It's only in races, I swear, that it gives you that.
Alright. Kosmic takes second, and Darbian is finishing up now, soon to take third. Kosmic did finish. Barnowl actually finished in second with a 5:29. Kosmic in third with a 6:23. These are actually SRL times, so the real SDA time would be a bit faster. And then Darbian finishes up with a 6:38 SDA time. So, Andrew takes the first win. I'm going to go ahead and make a new channel so that we can just start it immediately.
andrewG, have you ever finished walkathon?
No, I've gotten to the Bowser pit,
Yeah.
and then I don't know. I hit the
Do you know-
wall jump pixel once, but I couldn't get it.
Do you know if anyone's ever gotten it?
I don't think so. But I don't know if anyone. Not many.
No,
people have tried.
somebody's done that run. They were in my chat one time. I forget who it was though, but they talked about having the walkathon record.
Andrew, whenever you're set, if you want to join the next race, I linked it in the channel, the race channel.
Oh. Somehow I missed that.
All right.
Make sure you guys turn off your games so that it's not not silly.
No, dude, I have Duck Hunt Cart.
Oh, that, yeah. Andrew, could you just turn down your volume a little bit if possible?
Yeah.
Or however you need to do it.
Sorry. Hold on. Voice audio
You're good.
Yeah,
Or-
good.
game audio.
So I can hear it. Unlike what's this, Kosmic? What's going on here? Turtle.
We're gonna show off something cool.
How far is he going? How'd that happen? What's going on?
He's going pretty far.
Oh, sweet. You got it. Actually, unless it goes the wrong way. Oh, there we go. Now we have to wait 5 minutes. Not really.
Oh, he flies over the pit? What up with that? I'm watching intently, waiting to see what happens. Going all the way to the castle. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Wow, I didn't know that at all. That's cool. Oh, you can actually. How far can you go?
Forever.
Wow, it's just blue until the end.
Yep.
No, we're
Okay, we're going.
All right, here we go. Good luck to all. All right, let's get some more 380s. We're 3 for 3. Let's make it 6 for 6. If you don't get 380, that will be a 5-second penalty.
andrewG, do you reset when it says go or start when it says go?
I don't know.
I press start when it says go.
I reset.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
because
Winning
I-
even
Really?
with the handicap.
380. Oh,
It's just-
379. I'm so
Yeah, but
sorry.
I didn't lose the frame rule though.
Okay.
it's just because if it's an actual good run, I want it to make sure that it's good.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
You going for fast 4-2? Is that what I'm hearing?
What? Oh, I don't know.
G-2?
It's a secret.
Any deaths in 1, 2?
I feel like I should go for fast 4-2. I've been getting it so often.
You'll probably get it.
I've been getting it so often lately that, like, yeah, Darbian's just like Darbian's trying to make me fail miserably.
I know how you.
That's
work.
what
I know-
Darbian likes to do. He's like baits me along. Like, yeah,
Should
do
be
it.
noted.
You're
Trying to get a
Good.
459 SRL timing?
Oh yeah.
It should be noted Darbian went into 4-1, 4 coins the richer. Let's see how they exit 4-1. Actually, your stream froze.
Whoever gets the swag coins wins.
I just want to do the warp this time.
The timing of that was so funny last race.
Oh no.
I think we're
I just
about
got G-2, guys.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Oh no! I got hit the wall jump pixel. I probably didn't get it. Oh, I missed it. But oh my gosh.
So
was
you
awesome.
gained a frame rule just to lose a frame rule?
That was crazy.
What Andrew just did is something the rest of us only wish we could do. And in a race, no less. So everyone is in kind of different spots now, I think. Maybe Darbian and Cosmic are tied to this point.
Not anymore.
Oh, Darbian had their unlucky break where he unluckily ran into a piranha plant.
Hmm.
I almost just got 6 fireworks.
I got
Oh,
a 1
that
frame
was-
rule, but my rung warp was fun. I bounced on 2 Goombas.
There was only one turtle there was like, it was the weirdest pattern I've ever seen for 8-1.
There's 1?
So Andrew might just sweep this with a 2-0. He's got to not mess up, though. We're not done yet.
I made the silliest of
once again.
mistakes.
Oh. Oh. Nah. Goes for it, doesn't get it. Meanwhile, Cosmic
You gotta
dead.
go for it.
So, Andrew has a pretty commanding lead now. His race to lose. It's one hammer. Oh, I'm frozen over here.
Give the people more races, Andrew.
So
Oh, that was a okay, you guys I lost.
That was a race pattern. Is that what I'm
Oh.
hearing?
Oh, stomped
Like,
on the head.
You'd be amazed at what just happened to me. Like, you'd be like, huh.
So
You
it's
should
hard
check
to
it.
compare, but
You should check out that pattern.
Andrew and Cosmic basically tied right now. Oh, never mind.
No, I'm awful. That was completely my fault.
I'm gonna say that Darbian's probably one.
No, not even close.
Really? Did you die?
I died a couple times in 8-1.
I threw it. I
didn't even get a chance to do the bullet bill glitch.
I keep messing up like simple things that I shouldn't. And what am I doing? What am
You
I
should go
doing?
too short on the wrong warp.
That was a good effort at that wall jump, though.
I seriously got G-2. That was like crazy stuff. It's like maybe the best I've ever done it too. Except that I didn't get a 376. Almost though. All right, I'm gonna go for the jump just to be fair. Got it.
Except Barnowl snipes. Does that
Barnowl
count?
just he got me. He got me like as I I pressed 1, but instead of enter.
Yeah, Barnowl is great as
Dang
free
it.
and complete.
He-
Took down the G.
Man, we gotta get Barnowl a stream on here. He's going for first.
I think we should all do one more race where we all go for world record,
All right.
and then if all of us failed, then that's okay.
How about this? You start at the same time, and whoever loses world record pace the last wins or something.
Just dot quit when you lose record pace.
Yeah.
So if you dot done, then you're amazing.
So you guys want to do that? One more race, world record strats only, flagpole strats only. Backward
What are we doing? What do we
acceleration
do when we lose record pace?
I mean, you can keep going if you want. You're free to do whatever you'd like, but as soon as you lose record pace, you're out of the race with arbitrary rules.
Well, we'll probably all tie exactly. Well, actually, I'll just wait like a millisecond to go down the pipe. I got a 375 entry.
I gotta put my splits up for this one.
All right, so Andrew wins the silly series, and now we got the real deal coming up. I linked it in chat. Like the difference.
This is going to be ridiculous.
Everyone gets to 8-4.
That would be a first for me.
That would blow my mind. I would be like, all right.
I mean, it seems like G-2 is the smart way to try this, because at least if you have a better chance of getting the warp and screwing up rather than failing the warp.
If you screw up the clip, then you're done.
Well, you can just use the pipes and be fine.
True. Well, unless you hit the blocks. then what are you gonna do? All right, let's get this.
World record time.
PB time.
All right. Let's see those 4 2s. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. This is so funny. World record or bust. Or we could just, like, say the first to get the record wins.
I don't even know if I started on the right frame rule.
Good start.
I got a 79, but I think I'll know if I lost the frame roll.
I was just about to say, like, if we're probably gonna get a 379, if 69, and be like, what?
I got a 69, but I think it'll be fast enough.
I hope so.
I'll know in a second. Yep, we're good.
Nice. Whew.
I kind of wanted to get a record with a 69 and just to see the comments.
No one would notice because
Yeah.
no one watches the. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, the Koopa.
That was sad.
Kosmic and Darbina both going at it. 4-1 will be a bit of a lull. Or we could say whoever finishes with the most coins.
Okay.
No. Well, you can say that if you want. We'll just do the
Blechy, you ruined me.
I did?
No. It was my fault.
What, did you die going for the swag coins?
No.
Oh!
I was gonna try and do some crazy strat to get 1 extra coin, but
All right.
A little pyramid of
Serious
coins.
time. While we both fail this run.
You are behind now, right, Cosmic?
probably. We'll just say I didn't lose the frame rule.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'm done now.
I was
How's the
unsuccessful.
Shoot.
Oh, I'm in world -1, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm winning.
Alright, so Darbian wins the... No, wait. I guess Cosmic still has a chance or something. Never mind.
I don't know what's happening.
Darbian won. And andrewG won.
It doesn't feel like a real victory. As I'm game overing, telling me I'm winning.
Alright, so I think that's just about it. Feel free to keep racing, of course.
Yeah, I forgot I was still in a race.
But we're going to stop featuring them. If anyone wants to keep racing, feel free. But, yep, I think that's about it for the stream. Thank you so much to you guys for being willing to do this. It was a whole lot of fun. I hope you guys watching were entertained as well. Thank you, Bad Breaks, for coming up with the idea. And thank you, Dexter, for being the silent restreamer this whole time and being very watchful and quick with everything that needed to be done. I think that's about it. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to throw out there?
Yeah, maybe. I'll give you some shout-outs to Blechy, Darbian, Andrew, and Kosmic for making this happen. Really fun times.
Yeah, good.
Thanks
It was
for
a great
having us.
idea.
Yeah, thanks for hosting us.
So
Cool.
Bad Breaks, if you wanted to do this again, what are some possible games that would be coming up that people could look out for?
The next game we have on the list is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Contra for the next episodes of this showcase. Hopefully.
And then I know you guys do other events as well. Do you have anything coming up as far as that goes?
Yeah, we're having the Pass the Torch relay coming up 28th of May, which is 10 classic NES games. It's 2 teams, and it's going to be a big relay race. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
And that'll be on this channel?
That will be on this channel, yes.
Right. So if that sounds good to you guys, whether it's the interviews or the relay races, and they do other stuff as well, definitely follow this channel because there will be plenty more to come.
We also have an annual NES marathon every year in October. When we play NES games, or only NES games for 4 days marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So,
cool.
First year we had only world record holders. That was pretty exciting, I guess. I think we had like 121 games or something. So let's see what the team is going to be this year. But it's definitely going to happen.
All right. Anything else before we close down?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think that's about it. Again, shout outs to you, Blechy, for doing this. Helping
Yeah,
with that.
happy to do it.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a lot of fun.
Maybe we can. Is anyone playing SMB now at the moment? We can maybe.
Oh, good idea.
Anyone has, or if anyone of you gonna continue stream after this, maybe.
I mean, I'll probably do Lost Levels, but if there's a Mario 1 runner I don't.
I don't
go
think-
for
I'm not
go
gonna-
for somebody.
I'm not going to be streaming. I don't think.
Does
Alas,
anyone on SMB1?
This Besto Fness is streaming.
Oh, let's raid. Let's raid. That one.
Yeah, so you guys want? Maybe we should just.
I think
Head
we have
on over-
Whitman Price is actually.
Well, he's racing, so I don't know if he'll go afterwards.